This is KYTX CBS 19 News at 5.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Landess.
And I'm Gillian Sheridan. Our top story, a blizzard blankets the Northeast. The storm is delivering the punch that was predicted in parts of Massachusetts.
Other areas, including New York City, took a much lighter hit. And CBS News correspondent Marley Hall is there now with the latest.
The storm pounded Cape Cod with heavy winds and blinding snow, knocking out power for many residents. First responders helped this elderly couple evacuate.
This morning at 3 o'clock, we had no heat.
In Foxborough, Massachusetts, snow fell all night and through the morning. Some parts of the state had 2 feet of snow. Fred Schultz was out early with his shovel.
A lot of hard work so far, about 2 hours into doing this 4-foot drift from the plows.
The east end of Long Island was the hardest hit area in New York. More than a foot of snow fell in many areas.
The storm had a silver lining for school children. It's a snow day for hundreds of thousands of kids from Maine to New Jersey.
The snowstorm wasn't as bad as I thought, but still, we still got to miss school, so it's all right.
New York was back in business Tuesday after the governor and mayor shut down the roads and the rails overnight.
We got about half as much as what a lot of the projections had been.
The mayor said erring on the side of caution to keep residents safe is a no-brainer. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
And the winter storm is causing airlines to cancel nearly 8,000 flights. The effects felt at major airports all across the country, including, of course, at DFW and Houston's George Bush Intercontinental. Monitors showing all flights headed to New York and Boston and Philadelphia cancel.
All right, back here in East Texas, a 5th day of testimony ends just moments ago in a double homicide trial going on in Gregg County.
Go now to Jimmy Isaac live in our Longview newsroom. Jimmy, how long before this case might go to the jury?
This double homicide case is expected to last into next week, and that's because prosecutors have subpoenaed about 50 witnesses.
You said you don't do the strip club. You know what Wesley does? I don't know.
Never heard the name Octavio Hollis.
Prosecutors say defendant Joshua O'Stephen Reese told police multiple conflicting stories after his ex-wife and her 11-year-old daughter were found shot to death in their Longview home back on October 10, 2012. But investigators testified that when they looked up people associated with those stories, the information usually painted Reese as a liar and the most likely culprit. Police tell jurors that none of Reese's DNA were found at the crime scene. And Mike and Gillian, the police say that they did not find anything cleaned up from the scene other than police and cartridges before they arrived.
Goodness.
All right, thank you, Jimmy.
That was bullets and cartridges.
Yep.
Now, if convicted, Reese faces life in prison without parole.
All right, tonight at 6 o'clock, his mother speaks exclusively with CBS 19 News. We'll bring that to you. There are 2 police officers in suburban Minneapolis who are recovering after gunfire that took place during a city council meeting.
Get down, get down. Everybody get down.
City council members in New Hope, Minnesota, holding a meeting on Monday night when shots were fired outside the council chambers. The shots happened just moments after 2 police officers were sworn in during a ceremony there.
An adult male engaged these officers with a handgun and began firing at them. 2 officers were struck by the gunfire. Other officers were able to return fire, subsequently killing the suspect.
The injured officers were taken to a local hospital where they're listed in good condition. It is not clear if the officers who were shot were the ones who had just participated in that swearing-in ceremony. Investigators have not released a motive for this shooting.
New information tonight on the conditions at the Klein Animal Shelter in Jacksonville after a report released by the Department of State Health Services. Inspectors from DSHS visited the shelter January 14th after the agency received 2 calls saying no one was at Klein taking care of the animals, which violates the law. The inspectors described the conditions as unsatisfactory. The inspection notes dog cages with feces, blood, and urine in them. The report also describes injured animals without proper care, even a dead puppy still in the cage with its mother and siblings. The inspectors decided to call the Jacksonville Police Department immediately, which led to the arrest of shelter director Angela Wallace and 2 other shelter employees.
A consumer alert now. The drop in oil prices is causing another company to cut back on its workforce. U.S. Steel Corporation announcing it will temporarily cut back its staff. Adjustments expected to impact more than 1,900 workers. About 300 of those employees will be cut from the Lone Star, Texas plant, the location there. Cutbacks when oil prices are on a downturn doesn't come as a surprise there.
They blessed because some of them guys been working straight 3 years. I never did work that long when I first went there.
The rest of the job cuts will be divided among the other U.S. Steel facilities. The adjustments are expected to begin sometime next month.
Well, it was another day full of sunshine in East Texas. Beautiful.
Just gorgeous out there. Meteorologist Doc Deason now with our evening planner. Doc?
This is where we say welcome back, Mike, to East Texas.
Hello, Saul.
Glad to be here. Absolutely. Let's look outside and see what we got from Longview. We got 76 right now, man. What a beautiful January day. In a lot of cases, running 15 to 20 degrees above normal today, but that's not going to last too much longer. As we go to the evening planner on the weather computer, we're only down to 71 at 6 o'clock, and we'll get you into the upper 50s by 10 o'clock. All that to say, a very pleasant evening across the entire area, so I hope you got a chance to get out and enjoy some of that in some shape, form, or fashion. We got another nice-looking day tomorrow, then changes start to ease into the forecast. I shouldn't say ease, start to kind of blow into the forecast. We'll get you up to speed on all that, Mike. Talk about some rain for the weekend as well, bud, in a couple of minutes, okay?
All right. Thank you, Doc.
Thanks so much. Happening now, Holocaust survivors and world leaders at the site of the Nazi concentration camp at Auschwitz.
It's been 70 years since Soviet leaders liberated the concentration camp. CBS's Tina Kraus takes a look back.
Hundreds of survivors came back to Auschwitz to mark the moment they found freedom 70 years ago. Many former prisoners wore scarves with stripes to symbolize their uniforms. Helena Berenbaum called Auschwitz a bottomless pit of hell she could not get out of. The remembrance ceremony at the former concentration camp began at the exact time the first Soviet tanks entered the Nazi-controlled site and found piles of bodies and prisoners close to death. Soviet soldiers liberated the camp where Nazis killed more than 1.1 million people, most of them Jews. Survivors called on world leaders to teach tolerance and create a more peaceful future.
We all must make clear that hate is never right and love is never wrong.
Commemorations began in the morning as 100 former prisoners laid wreaths and touched the wall of death, where Nazis executed thousands. With most survivors now in their 80s and 90s, this marks the last big anniversary many will be able to attend. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin was not among European and U.S. leaders marking the anniversary. His absence comes amid tensions between Russia and the West over the Kremlin's actions in Ukraine.
And another somber anniversary is coming up tomorrow, marking 29 years since the Challenger space shuttle disaster. It was January 28, 1986. The space shuttle Challenger broke up 73 seconds after liftoff. All 7 astronauts on board lost their lives. Challenger's crew will be honored during NASA's Day of Remembrance tomorrow at Arlington National Cemetery.
Remember that day very, very well.
Everybody knows where they were that day, yes.
All right, parents, this is a scary thought right here. An intruder in your child's bedroom. It's happening more than you think.
Find out how strangers could be spying on your child without you even knowing it.
And despite the blizzard, the New York Stock Exchange was open for business. Here are today's closing numbers, all down.
Like what you see here on CBS 19? If you do, go to our Facebook page and give us your thumbs up.
Right, this story scares me very much as a parent of young children. Imagine being in the privacy of your own home when you suddenly hear someone talking to you through your child's monitor.
As creepy as that sound, it happened to a Houston family, and it's put that family and their nanny on edge. Jeremy Deason bringing us these very scary details.
Bunny rabbit?
Just another Monday for nanny Ashley Stanley.
Oh, fall down!
Usually all about cute and cuddly.
Well, I was changing her. I mean, it was a pretty big number 2.
When she heard the voice, it sounded like somebody talking to her through the camera used to monitor baby Sammy. she thought it was a joke.
Is there like a toy on or something that's creeping me out?
It was when the voice told her, "That's a really poopy diaper." That's when she panicked.
I was kind of really freaked out, like maybe somebody hacked into the camera or something. And so he said something else like, "Oh, well, you should probably password protect your camera."
Ashley immediately called Sammy's mom and dad, who both confirmed that they had not been playing a joke on her, and she unplugged the camera. The family and the nanny thought that the system was set up only to allow viewing on the mobile app when the phone was also on the home network. Seems that's not the case. The camera's maker is Foscam, and the company has an extensive list of protections for users on its website to make sure that the systems are safe. The biggest thing the company emphasizes is making sure to set new and unusual usernames and passwords, something this family had thought they had done. What happened this morning seems like a harmless prank, but...
What pervert's been watching and not said anything? You know, that's the kind of person that I'm kind of afraid of, like, who's been watching silently?
Can you say creepy? Creepy. Cameras manufacturers actually says the very same cameras that connect to the internet also log those who have been accessing the video on the camera. They say that actually makes it easier to find out who's been violating your privacy.
So disturbing. All right, we have new information now on the Dallas teenager accused of drowning her friend's baby in a bowl of water. The 14-year-old admitted to killing the 2-month-old. That's according to a source close to the investigation. The teenager reportedly told police she was stressed because she was having to take care of the baby. The baby's mother is in jail. The teen's mother was at work Monday morning when the baby drowned. When she got to the scene, she was so upset she had to be taken away by ambulance. The teen has now been charged with capital murder. The judge will decide whether she will be charged as an adult.
An update now on the pit bull that was shot and killed at a Pasadena dog park. The dog's owner is considering legal action. Now, this is the dog park where Randall Livingston's pit bull, Deason, was shot and killed yesterday. No signs in the park saying that handguns aren't allowed, and that's because it's perfectly legal to bring a handgun with you if you have a concealed carry license. The shooter did have a carry concealed license, and the shooter told investigators he shot the dog because it was being too aggressive.
My mom was there. She saw him draw his weapon and shoot Deason. You know, that's a horrible sight. Watching something like that, it's not something that you can explain.
The man who shot the dog was released and the case turned over to the Harris County detectives. The dog owners say they don't necessarily want the shooter charged, but they might take civil action in Deason's death.
In today's CBS19.TV web exclusive, soon NASA will be saving millions of dollars in launch costs to the International Space Station. The average cost on board the SpaceX Dragon or Boeing CST-100 will be $58 million. Under NASA's contract with Russia, they've been paying much more, about $71 million a seat. SpaceX and Boeing say they're on track to send manned test flights to the International Space Station in 2017. To see this and more of today's Consumer Corner stories, visit CBS19.TV, click on the news link, and look for web exclusives. Well, it was a long night for many people in one Maryland neighborhood.
Hear how one family narrowly escaped after driving right into a sinkhole. And Doc has your forecast.
Man, yeah, as we go into the next couple of days, temperatures are going to be sinking, but we'll give you a day or so to get prepared for it. How about that? Back with the 7-day forecast in a minute.
I know there are a lot of choices out there for knowing what's going on in the world. But what I'm concerned about the most is what's happening right here in East Texas. What's the best school, and what will they do to keep my child safe? What will the weather be like for a soccer game? What's the best way my family can save money and avoid being scammed? There are a lot of choices for where I get my news. I choose CBS 19.
He was convicted for a murder in 1978 and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Then, after serving only a third of his prison time, he was paroled and released. 2 years later, he sexually assaulted, robbed, and killed a coworker with a hammer. It took only 18 minutes for a Smith County jury to sentence him to death. Now, after 18 years, Robert Charles Ladd's punishment will be carried out in Huntsville on January 29th. Join CBS 19's Phil Sutton and the Tyler Morning Telegraph as they share this story's final chapter, Justice for Vicky, only on CBS 19. From your local news leader, here's your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Doc Deason.
Well, for those of you who are visiting the East Texas area, I could come out and say that it's like this every January, but I'd be lying to you. We are pretty pleased, though, to have 79 right now at Top Independent Center from Weather Authority Live Camera Network. And, yeah, the shadows are getting pretty long, and we're still pretty warm, but not many folks are too concerned about that at this moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of East Texas and see kind of how the bulk of the area is faring. We got 73, the cool spot. That's a nice note as you get into Nacogdoches. 81 at Crockett. A lot of folks sitting in the 80s there across at least that central part of Houston County. 79 at Lufkin. 77 Tyler. Normal high for today runs you about 57 to 59. So we are in really good territory as we take a look at this last, Tuesday of the month. We've got dew points which are running in the 30s and 40s. The warmer that these temperatures are, the warmer our overnight low temperatures will definitely be, and we're going to have a pretty decent little wind overnight, just a little bit of that, and that's going to help to keep things kind of mixed around and not much breeze right now, but still you don't need a whole lot when you've got as much moisture as we have starting to kind of come back into play. 77 at San Angelo. You got 79 Houston, 80s down towards Laredo and at Brownsville, 60s up Amarillo, and 70s even at Oklahoma City. So nothing really coming at us in any quick fashion as far as cooler air is concerned. The most of that is still way off to the east. You got 20s across the Great Lakes, Chicago, Minneapolis below freezing, and then of course all of the hype across the northeastern parts of the country. 34 DC and 18 at Boston right now. A lot of snow still ongoing as you get up into Maine and portions of Vermont. The temperature pattern across the state has been affected greatly by an abundance of sunshine today and high pressure aloft. That's not really going to change much tomorrow, at least as far as the sunshine is concerned. We keep the in-house computer model in motion tonight. Clock's moving. There's just not much to be seen with clouds and or rainfall for sure. We'll make a very nice start of it tomorrow. And I think temperatures back in the same general ballpark. Computer models are really struggling with as warm as we are. They undershot the temperature significantly today, and I'm thinking they're doing that again for tomorrow. So we will go a little bit above those numbers in most cases. Tonight, winds out of a southerly direction. Won't be a lot of breeze, but there'll be just enough to keep things from bottoming out closer to that dew point, which again is on the higher side for this time of year. South breeze tomorrow, 10 to maybe as high as 15 miles an hour during the afternoon, so that also helps in the warming process. And we go into tomorrow night with a continuing south breeze. By Thursday morning, we're going to start to await the arrival of a cold front. That's going to swing through the area and start us on that downward slide with back to reality somewhat by Thursday afternoon, especially Friday. 47 tonight, 73 to 76 tomorrow afternoon, and then 53 for tomorrow night out ahead of our cold front. Now we get you into Thursday. We're down in a lot of cases probably 5 to 10 degrees for a lot of folks for Thursday afternoon compared to Wednesday. We're even cooler on Friday. We're going to start to reintroduce that rain chance in there for Saturday and Sunday. I think rainfall totals for us will probably be in the inch or so range for most of East Texas, with a few higher amounts, but still, it's going to make for obviously a wet and chilly weekend. I mean, when you're doing 79 on a Tuesday and you got 50s for highs, low 50s on Saturday, Sunday, that's not exactly ideal conditions for a lot of folks. They want to be outside and be able to enjoy it, but it is what it is, as they say. Updates from me on Twitter, and of course, also you can keep tabs on us at CBS19.tv.
If I could have lifted this up, I would have moved the news desk out to the parking lot today.
You and me both.
Beautiful weather.
Maybe we could look at that as a future opportunity there.
All right, thanks, Doc.
Thanks, guys.
All right, caught on tape, a neighborhood flooded and one family's car nearly swallowed up in a sinkhole.
All because of a water main break. Take a look at this. This is the scene at Hyattsville, Maryland. After a 12-inch water main busted, one family noticed water pouring into their home. They jumped into their car to try and leave. But the car started sinking.
Oh my gosh.
They were able to get out just in time. No one was hurt, but it was still pretty scary.
Yeah, and they had little ones with them.
Oh, yeah. What a mess they had there. Yeah,
it was cold.
Weather on top of it, right. Super Bowl almost here. To get you started planning on your menu for your gathering, we have some tips.
We have got a fresh idea for your Super Bowl spread that's sure to please. Christine Gardner's Fresh Ideas is next on CBS 19 News at 5.
You're watching KYTX CBS 19 in HD.
Here's a little factoid to amaze your friends. Super Bowl Sunday is the second biggest food day other than Thanksgiving in America. Now, in this week's Fresh Ideas, Christine Gardner shows us an easy recipe for pulled pork that would be perfect for any game watching party. And the best part, it can be made in a slow cooker.
Time to pull out the crock pot. I think this is probably one of the only times a year that I really get mine going. And I'm going to make some Korean pork barbecue. This is very easy to do. Crock pot does all the work. All you're going to do is take either a real lean pork roast or pork loin, get that into your crock pot, and then you're going to cover it with a few different ingredients. Some rice vinegar, soy sauce, sriracha hot sauce, as much or as little as you like, if you like it spicy. Some red onion, some brown sugar, also some whole garlic. Don't worry about it being whole. It's going to cook down and break down in the 8 hours that it's in the crock pot. Also a good bit of fresh ginger. With ginger, you can't really substitute the dried. So if you have a recipe that calls for fresh ginger, go ahead and get it. All you have to do is peel off the little ginger nub and then grate it down with your microplane. So you just get all of that into your crock pot. And I've had mine going for about 8 hours now. So my sauce is nice and caramelized a little bit. It's getting thicker. The onions are cooked. The garlic's cooked down. But my meat is still intact. So what you need to do at this point is just get a couple of big forks, and you're going to start shredding it apart and then mixing it in with the sauce. So I'm going to start shredding this pork, and then I'll come back and we'll show you how we can make these into either tacos or sliders. So I've got our Korean barbecue all shredded, and it's all mixed in with the sauce. I also use the lean pork roast because that cuts down on a lot of fat and calories instead of using a pork shoulder. And so I'm just going to get a little bit of our meat here on top of a slider bun. I've also added a little bit of Asian slaw that kind of goes well with all the flavors in your sauce with the meat. And you can wrap these up in tortillas as well and set them out on your platter, and you are ready for game time. So if you would like to find this recipe for Korean pork barbecue, just go to cbs19.tv, scroll down, and look for the Fresh Ideas logo.
And next week, as Fresh prepares for the upcoming Fresh 15 race, Christine will show us how to stay full and healthy with a recipe for homemade granola bars. You don't want to miss that one. It's a healthy treat.
Coming up tonight on CBS 19 News at 10, the story of a sweet boy waiting to be adopted. 12-year-old Keithan is a friendly, outgoing, and considerate young man. He relies on his faith to give him strength while he waits for his forever family. You'll meet this remarkable boy in CBS 19's Children Are a Gift tonight at 10.
Okay, forget the car keys. Grab the snow skis. The unusual way some people up in the Northeast with all of that weather up there are getting around town.
Plus, Doc has one final look at our evening planner when we come back.
News experience does matter. Join the most experienced news team in East Texas. Mike Landess and Gillian Sheridan report the news that matters from around the world to around the corner. CBS 19 News, coverage you can count on. East Texas weather can be beautiful, and it can become dangerous without notice. The CBS 19 Weather Authority team of John Adams, Doc Deason, and Scott Fosse can track the dangerous storms and also give you a pleasant outlook to plan your weekend. Choose CBS 19 Weather.
As you would imagine, the blizzard in the Northeast has made quite a mess of some of the roads up there.
So what do you do when you can't drive? You ski, of course. Check this out. The winter storm hit parts of Massachusetts hard this morning, with some areas reporting more than 1.5 feet of snow. But these people didn't let a little snow get in their way. They left their car keys at home, put on their skis, and hit the road.
Cross-country skis are perfect for
that. Got a little exercise at the same time, right?
Now, for us, we have a couple more days of sunshine before the cold front blows in.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, the only skis we'll have on are water skis around
there. You go.
Well, maybe
Good
not
transition.
Quite, but we are working on it. Let's look at the evening planner numbers real quick on the weather computer. I wish we could water ski. Let's go 71 at 6, and we're down to 58 at 10 o'clock. We go into the day tomorrow. That'll be the last of the really warm ones, I think, for a while. We'll top out, I think, 75 to 76 in a lot of spots. We'll be down to around 70 by 5, and we'll get you into the 60s for Thursday, 50s on Friday, rains there for Saturday and Sunday. John's here at 6 to talk about it all in more detail, okay?
Thanks, sir. Here's what's coming up for the CBS Evening News.
We go to Scott Pelley in New York.
While parts of the Northeast began shoveling as much as 30 inches of snow, millions of people are not digging the less than accurate forecast. The latest on the blizzard that wasn't for New York. Plus, should parents be forced to vaccinate their kids? The debate that is growing along with the measles outbreak. We'll have those stories tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And here's what we're working on for 6.
Tax season, also the time for criminals. A local financial professional will join us on set to talk about how we can avoid becoming a tax ID victim. All that tonight on CBS 19 News at 6.
We thank you for watching KYTX CBS 19 News at 5 o'clock.
We'll see you back here in about 30 minutes. Till then, have a great night.
KYTX CBS 19 News app is brought to you by Hyundai of Longview. You pick it out, we'll work it out. We're KYTX. Texas is in our name.
Tonight, a big helping of winter. The Northeast starts shoveling as much as 30 inches of snow, but millions are not digging the less than accurate forecast.
We in this country don't like the cry wolf. We get angry about it.
Reports from Anna Werner, Don Daler, Jim Axelrod, and Jeff Pegues. Ben Tracy on the growing measles outbreak and the debate over forcing parents to get their kids vaccinated.
Measles is an almost always benign childhood illness.
People don't remember children staying in dark rooms because they have measles and the light hurts their eyes.
And on the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, a survivor tells Dean Reynolds about the family he lost.
I said goodbye to him and never to see him or hear from him again.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
Good evening. Tonight, the tail end of a powerful nor'easter is whipping northern New England.